what other things are you using? Using isn't the right word. Practicing or finding
Yeah.
that are supporting you.
See, this is very interesting because when I started to do my healing, I started to do it here in the Western culture.
Yeah.
And that is really different where I was hurt. I was hurt in the
Yeah.
Eastern culture.
Yeah.
So I thought, and I'm a collectivist person, and I love to go with people through stuff, So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's where so every time I would just hear, all these so every time I would just hear about like writing, journaling, or doing the meditation, it always felt lonely to me.
Mm-hmm.
Always felt so lonely to me that
Yeah.
I, and then I remember when I started writing, and I took a course with you also in
Yeah.
writing, remember?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and and I was like, I really took that seriously, but it never felt like it was something for me.
Right. Yeah.
It never, although I was actually writing before. When I
Mhm.
was in Saudi Arabia, I was writing some articles in Arabic there, but it never felt like writing my feeling and writing my pain, or writing my journey. It actually healing for me. It just felt
Yeah.
like something I wanted to do. I heard it and I wanted to do it. Hopefully, it will just like take me somewhere. But
Mhm.
honestly, it didn't at the beginning. At the beginning, it didn't, and I knew that I needed a human to
Mhm.
share this with. I needed to write. I used to write journals for like 3 or 4 pages and then send it to my therapist. Like, and I told him, even if he didn't read it, and he's like, no, no, I do read it. I'm like, I'm telling you, even if he didn't read it, it is okay for me, because just the feeling that somebody else knew what I went through makes me feel okay.
Mm.
It's weird, but that's how
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how that's how writing I came to it. I came to it from
Yeah.
a place that I needed, like, until now. Actually, when I write either in a letter form, either to myself or to,
Mm.
last week I wrote a letter to my dad, and that was something new for me. I never done that before. I write letters for my mom. I never send them, but I have them. And, like, so there's always another person in there.
Yeah, it's relational writing,
Yes,
really.
yes,
Yeah, which is a
yeah,
really cool. I love that actually. I'm glad you mentioned that because there are even though I've always been a journaler, there's like I've journaled as long as I can remember. A lot of it is relational writing. Like I have conversations in my
yeah.
journal all the time. Like I'll go back and forth. I'll have a conversation with a person or with an emotion or with
Wow.
so it is, yeah, that's an interesting. And the other thing is I started blogging like 15 years ago, and it was just really personal writing, and it was to be in relationship. Like I hadn't even thought about that until you mentioned it, but my early
Yeah.
blog posts were just putting it out there for a handful of friends to read, and we were reading each other's blogs like long before it became part of what I
Wow.
do for my
Wow.
business. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.